Hello, my name is John Burris. Thank you for joining me today for this short video. This video is called "The Arms Are the Body's Energy Vents." In today's video, we'll be stepping outside of Western scientific musculoskeletal anatomy and sharing you how energy travels through the body, in particular how energy travels out the arms and how important the arms are in keeping the energy flow in the body. In most of our life, we've been trained by the scientific methodology of muscle building and taking care of our cells, but we don't do a lot of work on our energy flow. And what I've discovered was most of us have congested arms because the energy is backed up in the body, and because of our lifestyle practices and whatnot, we have arms that are energetically constipated and they don't flow outward. The energy gets stuck in the body. It's called the chi. So I'll be stepping into Chinese anatomy and energy anatomy and flow anatomy and showing you how important it is to keep your arm lines open and keep the chi flowing in the body, because the arms are the energy vents of the body. A lot of what I'll be exploring today is a whole new way of viewing the body. Anatomy isn't just one thing. I was taught in grade school and high school and college a particular type of anatomy. Scientific Western cellular muscle anatomy, and we do have that, but there's so much more. There's energy anatomy and body-mind anatomy, emotional anatomy, and chakra anatomy, and all kinds of different anatomies. We're all having the same body, but we all have a different perspective of our anatomy. So today I'll be exploring anatomy and how the energy flow in the body needs to move out the arms. When it gets congested, it causes problems. And as a body worker for over 40 years, I can share with you many of the problems that people experience in the body is based on the fact they're not having energy flow out the body. It gets stuck in their arms and shoulders, and most of that is because of the lifestyle choices we're making. And so we get stuck and we cause many of our health issues because we don't have any flow out the arms. So the arms are the vents of the body, and we need to keep them open and flowing. When they stop flowing, then we start having physical problems. Most of us were taught to see the arms as separate from the body, just some dangling appendages that have nothing to do with the rest of the body. And this is a mistake in identity, because when you see the body and the arms as separate, you cause a lot of your own conflicts. I find that a better way to envision the arms is like in the yoga practice, where everything's connected. The arms and the shoulders, the neck, the back, they're all connected, and they're not separate. Well, this is not how most people are taught. So in the yoga practice, the way I envision it is the arms are incredibly important as vents for the body, and are an incredibly important part, not just as dangling entities, but they're part of the whole structure. It's all connected. As a body worker and yoga therapist, we have to talk about the fascia in the body to understand how the arms become the energy vents of the body and how it becomes blocked. So in our physical body, the muscle tissue is surrounded by connective tissue called fascia. It's the insulation, the wrapping around the muscle. So you're not just moving muscle around, you're moving the connective tissue, the fascia, around the muscle as well. So what happens is it's not disconnected. So the fascia is like saran wrap, and it extends all the way through your body. It doesn't end. It may start at your fingertips and go through your arm and elbow into your chest and shoulders, and it keeps going through the body. It's continuous. It's a continuous wrapping through the body. So it's not separate. Your arms don't end at your armpit. It's a continuation of fascia connection and that flow. And so what happens is the fascia is the transport network for the chi energy in the body, which is the life force energy. So when the fascia is healthy, it transports all the way through the body in all directions. So one of the ways is the body transports energies out the arms. It also goes down the legs, and it goes up into the head and the neck. But one of the main pathways is in the arm. So the armpit doesn't stop. There's no stop point here unless you're doing the wrong things and you create a congestion there. So ideally, the fascia network will continue and the energy should move through it and whatnot. As long as you're connected and not doing the right things, the energy will move in and the fascia will transport chi out the body as it's directed to be so. The problem is most people live a lifestyle where we cause congestion and we cause a separation where our arms don't feel connected to the body. They feel separate. So here's what I've discovered over many years of working with this issue. Even myself, I used to be a gym rat and a weightlifter, and it caused congestion. So there's several ways we cause congestion in our arms and shoulders that cause the chi to back up, and so our arms are separate, so we don't vent the energy. The energy will back up and cause physical problems, which I'll talk about. So one way is a stress pattern. A lot of people, when they're sleeping at night, they're gripping because they're afraid of going to bed. They're afraid of darkness, afraid of being alone. Many old traumatized infant patterns are stuck in our body. So as we grip, we're tightening up as we're sleeping and curled in a ball, and that will cause the fascia to harden and dry out so you don't get the flow out the arms and up the head and out the neck. Another way is through an injury. So if you have an old shoulder injury and you don't properly take care of it, and that causes the congestion in the fascia, so you get a blockage. Many people I work with have arm issues that lead to neck issues. It's all connected together because the fascia is not transporting chi out the body because there's an old injury there that never got properly taken care of. You can't just put muscle on top of an injury because you're still blocking the chi flow. You've got to unwrap the body like a paper towel. So what happens often is this. Your body's like a paper towel, and so this is your injury here. And it's many, many layers deep. It's not just on the surface. You have to peel it away. So that's why things like yoga, movement therapy, fascia body work are important. So if this is the inside of your body and your outside is here, what I've discovered, you have to peel away the layers of the trauma to release it. You can't just build more layers on top of it. You have to peel it away. And when you peel away that old trauma, then the fascia is open again and the chi starts flowing again. But most people have injuries that in their arms and shoulder and neck, and it backs up. So that neck issue might really be a shoulder issue or arm issue, and the chi's not flowing out the body. And the third way I found that many people have congestion in their arms is they lift weights too much. They're too bulky. When you lift weights, you're hardening and shortening muscle tissue. You're also shortening and drying out the fascia around it. So most people I observe at the gym, they're bulky, but they're dried out and their arms are congested. I call it Popeye arms. They're congested. Their arms are separate from their body. And there's a separation. There's no flow of energy outward because too much muscle will cause the surrounding fascia to dry out and block the flow of chi out the body. This is an example of the muscle arms and shoulders are separate from the rest of the body. There's no connection to the torso, the rest of the body. They're muscle, they're bulky, and they're dried out, and they lack chi flow because the muscle tissue is drying you out. The problem with many fitness routines are mechanistic. They focus on one part, like a cow parts. You know, the cow is divided into parts. You know, you have the flank steak and all the different parts, a round steak and all the different steak, the filet mignon, and different parts. Well, we do the same thing at the gym. Tuesday's arm day, Wednesday's shoulder day, Thursday's leg day, Friday's back day, where you don't integrate the parts. So when your arms lack integration, because you're doing too much focused arm work, shoulder work at the gym, you block your flow. So it's really important to have flow in the body. And the problem is we do a lot of things to block the flow. To give you an example here, here's your arm here, and many people have arm issues. They have carpal tunnel or congested forearms. Well, it's not just basically a forearm issue or even a nerve issue. If your flow is backed up in your neck, your shoulder, your arm of chi flow, then it's going to end up in your physical tissue. So all the people I work on with carpal tunnel or forearm issues, they have a backup of flow all the way up their body into their neck. So their whole arm-shoulder connection is backed up. So we may diagnose them with carpal tunnel or tennis elbow or whatnot, but it's usually a blockage of flow all the way up into their neck and shoulders because their chi has been blocked up. So here's what's happening here. So if these are your muscle fibers, and most people spend their life building muscle fibers, it's surrounded by fascia tissue, which is a soft gelatin-like substance. The problem is because of your stress patterns, because of the way you live your life, because of too much fitness in your life, the fascia that surrounds the fibers starts to dry out. So after a while, the fascia around the fibers becomes concrete. So here you have your muscle fibers, so you're building at the gym, your fitness workouts, but it becomes concrete. Well, fascia doesn't move very well through energy. Energy doesn't move very well at all through the fascia that's concrete. It moves really well when the fascia is liquid, but when you lead your life hardening your body because of the hard body mentality, your fascia dries out and it doesn't move the chi, so your arm lines back up because you can't move chi through dead, dried out tissue. So that's the problem with our gym workouts. They dry us out and they cause a backflow of energy up into the neck and shoulders because we're too busy trying to get hard and we should be trying to get soft and liquefied. So a lot of our arm lines are blocked up because of the workouts and stress patterns and old injuries that never gotten taken care of. So it's really important to incorporate all the lines through the body so your arms start venting energy. A wonderful resource for this information is from Mark Rich. Energetic Anatomy is the name of his book. This is a picture from Mark Rich's book, Energetic Anatomy. It shows the idealized body. The chi flow through the body starts in the center of the core and moves down the legs and grounds us into the feet. It moves up the top of the head and out the crown of the head, and it moves through the shoulders and out the arms. This is what the body is supposed to be doing, but almost nobody does this because of the lifestyle choices we're making. This is when there's chi flow in all directions. This is the optimal picture of health. This is what happens when you have a backflow of chi. It's not moving out the arm. You might have an old elbow injury or forearm injury, and it gets stuck, so the chi stops flowing and it won't move out the arms. It gets stuck and it's like a speed bump. And probably because in this picture, an old injury, the chi stops flowing to the body. And here's a picture of a backlog of chi. It's not moving up the spine, out the arms and shoulders. So people start having neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, arm pain. All kinds of physical problems start arising because they don't have the flow out the arms. The arms are not venting the chi. And it's stuck in the neck and shoulder and back, and it doesn't move out the head, and they have migraine headaches, and they have depression and all kinds of issues because there's no flow. I found in my work as an energetic body worker that most people's depression is actually a backlog of chi. They're not flowing, so they feel stuck in their head and their neck, their occiput, because there's no flow of chi out their body. And once again, this is the picture of the average fitness athlete, weekend warrior, where the arms and shoulders are separate. It's about bulking up and building hard tissue. And what you do is you block the flow of chi out the body because you're creating stagnation and you're drying out. You're becoming beef jerky. So I find most people are causing most of their problems, and the pathology of fascia is such that once the chi backs up because of dried out fascia, you create all kinds of other problems. You cause thoracic outlet syndrome, depression, anxiety, tightness, pain, stiffness, because you have no flow out the body. You know, we have this interesting idea that we're supposed to be hard and tight, and I find that an errant thinking process because we should be working to be soft as we get older. And think about our bodies not as a bag of rocks that need to be hardened, but as a bag of water that needs to be softened. For instance, when most people walk, they don't move their shoulders at all. They don't move their arms at all. They're stiff, they're tight, they're frozen in place, and they just walk with their feet. What that does creates more tightness and stiffness because we're not moving from the whole body. We're moving from just the feet, from the lower body. So we have this errant conditioning where we're basically taught the wrong things. A hard body is not a healthy body. A hard body is a dried out beef jerky body. But that's what most people are seeking these days, and it pays poor dividends in the end because at the end you become a stick of beef jerky when you dry out and become hard and tight. Here is the interconnectedness from the fingers to the elbow, through the shoulder and neck. So often I find people with neck problems have arm problems as well because their fascia is so tight and it's backing up the chi, so they may have headaches, they may have elbow pain, they might have wrist pain, because it's all related, because they don't have a relationship with their arms. They think their arms are separate entities. And the chi backs up and their fascia is so hard and tight, they haven't cleared up this connection. They're blocked in many places where their arms are just dangling and not connected to the rest of the body. For instance, this is a swimmer who's going to have shoulder and neck problems because they just swim with their hand. The whole movement just comes from their hand. They're not connected at all. This is completely different. This is a swimmer who's moving with his whole arm, hand, shoulder, chest, and back muscles. There's a connection between the energy lines. They're using not just their hand, but the whole upper torso to move through the water. This is a much healthier stroke. This is one of the most common patterns I see in yoga classes, where people can't straighten their arm because they're congested in their fascia and there's no flow out the arm. They have blockages in several places, and this is normal because most people don't have a relationship with their arms and shoulders. They're separate appendages. But this is a completely different experience. If you're doing this pose correctly, you should feel the connection between your fingertips all the way through your elbow and shoulder and chest and back, all the way through your sides and into your tailbone. You should feel that line of connection if you're doing the pose properly, because you're aligning all the parts together and open up the fascia lines and open up the chi flow. This is actually a great pose for opening up fascia tissue and open up your chi lines in your arms. And this is how the chi should flow out the body. The whole group of muscle tissue from the fingertips, elbows, arms, shoulder, back, chest, front, neck should all be connected with open energy flow. It should be all working together, not one individual muscle at a time. So I've demonstrated with the cow picture. The current medical model, scientific Western medicine, treats us as body parts. Well, that's a foolish way to look at the body. We're all integrated because the fascia network keeps us all glued together, and it's all together, not separate. For example, working as a body worker, if I were to work with the insurance company and somebody came to me and I was working with a billing code, there'd be a billing code for just the neck, then a separate billing code for the shoulder, then a separate billing code for the elbow, because the Western scientific model believes it's all separate. So it's not true. The holistic model teaches us it's all connected, but we're stuck in this butcher mentality of looking at all the parts separately, and that's a big mistake because most people don't get treated well because they're not integrated. When you go to physical therapy, they go, okay, if you have a shoulder issue, we'll just treat your shoulder. They're not looking at the whole pattern that connects everything together. So for example, if you have something called thoracic outlet syndrome, which pinches the nerve here, and now you have tingling and numbness and pain down your hand, many people just look at the hand. They don't look at your neck. It's all connected. So we have a mistaken identity in how we treat anatomy. Teaching anatomy is often hundreds of years old. It's called old anatomy. I've started something called new anatomy. If you like to watch my new anatomy video, it shows you the difference between new anatomy and old anatomy. Old anatomy is hundreds of years old, in the time where leeches were important. We're in a time where no one knew about sterilization. That's the still beliefs we're still practicing in old anatomy. Well, new anatomy teaches you we're all connected. And the chi needs to flow through the body, up the top of the head, out the arms, down the legs. But if you treat your body as separate parts and you muscleize your body, you're going to block the flow of chi and you're going to get backflow, headaches, neck aches, pain. If you're constantly lifting weights and tightening your chest and rolling your shoulders forward, that's going to end up in your neck and shoulder because you're imbalanced. So we have this mentality, we're actually taught how to be imbalanced. I find that excessive muscle work, gym workouts will tighten your shoulders up and roll them forward, causing neck, shoulder pain. Also, women with implants, it often causes your chest muscle to tighten and roll your shoulders forward, often resulting in neck problems and shoulder problems because you're creating distortion here, which causes excess tightness in the fascia and also a blockage of flow. So there's lots of things we do ourselves. These are not natural things. They're not occurring naturally. They're self-induced traumas we're creating. And here's a picture of thoracic outlet syndrome, where you get a pinching in nerve in the neck region, just behind this collarbone there, and it travels down the arm and causes numbness, pain in your arm or hand or fingers. Well, most people don't treat the whole arm. They don't treat the fascia, and they don't treat the energy flow. It's often a backflow of energy that travels all the way from your fingertips all the way into your neck. And in most people, they're not getting treated for that. They're doing some kind of symptomatic treatment, but they're not getting the flow of chi moved open, and that's a mistake. So I found so much of our problems in our upper neck and shoulder back are coming because we have no flow out the arms. Our chi is blocked, our fascia is hard because of either a stress pattern we're in, holding on at night, for example, because of an old injury that never gets taken care of properly by building muscle around it or ignoring it, and because of excess weight training and strength building, push-ups, pull-ups, weight machines, whatever, that causes hard tissue, fascia dried out, and backflow of energy where it's not moving out the arms. Some of the worst clients I work on are athletes because they're so hard and tight. They're like a dried out ball of beef jerky. There's no flow of energy out the body. So a lot of the healing is to reverse that. You've got to get flow going again and connect your arms to your shoulders and to your back. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But the other thing I want to talk about too, there's also another type of injury. And I've had this happen to me. It's called vaccine injury. And I know medical doctors don't want to admit this. Vaccines cause what's called an interference field. And this is from the work of Dr. Robert Marshall. So Dr. Robert Marshall concluded that vaccines cause interference fields in the fascia, which cause disruptions in energy flow and cause all kinds of problems. In my own personal experience, about 8 years old, I got a tetanus shot. And for 30 years, I couldn't lift my arm because it had caused a disturbance in my energy field and it had blocked my flow. And it took 30 years to work it out. I had a client who's a medical doctor, an orthopedic surgeon, and he had to retire early because after a flu shot in his arm, he couldn't lift his arm anymore. He couldn't operate anymore. I've seen many clients with frozen shoulder due to vaccine injuries. So vaccine injuries cause interference field blocks in your fascia, and the chi doesn't flow out your body, and it causes all kinds of disturbances where you won't be able to lift your arm or straighten your arm because the vaccine has damaged the fascia tissue, and you now have no flow. So that also happens. I know the medical world doesn't want to hear that, but as a body worker, so many of my clients have shoulder issues because of vaccine injuries. So here's the bottom line. To be healthy, you need to have energy lines opened up. The fascia needs to be open, and the chi needs to flow out. When it doesn't happen, you back up, congestion, constipation, and you start having headaches, depression, neck aches, shoulder issues, all kinds of issues, thoracic outlet syndrome, carpal tunnel, whatever name you want to call it. It's all the backflow of energy because the energy is not moving out the body as it was intended to, because we live in a model that's mechanistic based on 400 years old of old thinking that wants to separate our arms from the rest of us. So it's really important to get your arm flow going. So ways to do this. Well, a regular yoga practice is a great way because a yoga will warm up the fascia tissue and the fascia starts to stay liquid and the chi flows through it. That's a great practice. You can also do other functional movement like Feldenkrais is great. There's something called bioenergetics from Alexander Lowen where you shake a lot. Shake and get the energy to come out of your body and move it out. There's Tai Chi, there's Qigong. Qigong moves the energy out. Get up every morning and shake your arms out and get the flow going. Body work, getting massages and body work. I massage my arms all the time so I don't have chi backing up and the fascia stays healthy. You know, many massage therapists, they're retiring before 10 years because they have so much backflow of energy because they're working so hard. Nothing's flowing out. It backs up, so they have to retire. You can also take an Epsom salt bath or soak your arms in Epsom salts so that Epsom salt water, so it starts to melt the hard chi that's been blocked in the body. You can take something like peppermint oil to spread that on your arms to get things to move. You can get a little self-massager to massage your own arms. Kundalini yoga is great because Kundalini yoga works with the breath a lot and it stirs the body up and it starts to do a lot of dramatic things to move the energy out. And it's a really intense yoga practice designed to move energy. So hot and cold compresses. You can do hot for 5 minutes, cold for 5 minutes, because it starts to get flow going. There's lots of things you can do. Regular massage therapy, fascia body work. When I work with clients, a lot of times it might take me several sessions to free up the fascia that's blocked inside the arms to get the chi moving again, because they're blocked and it's backing up into their neck and shoulders. So there's many things you can do. Some are simple, some might cost money. But you don't have to live with flow that's backed up or chi that's stagnant. Remember, the chi energy is the battery of the body, and when your chi's not flowing outward, you're stagnant, you're constipated energetically. So that's the summary today, and how the arms are the energy vents of the body. Not something we normally talk about in our Western scientific medical culture, but it's really important. To be healthy, it's got to flow. It's like when you're backed up, it's like a river backed up. You start growing mosquitoes and algae because things are backed up. When your arm lines are backed up, bad things happen. And you start having all kinds of symptoms because of that. So really important, start to pay attention to how connected your arms are to the rest of your body and start to get the energy to flow out of the body. So thank you for watching today, this short video, how the arms are the energetic vents of the body. If you'd like to learn more about me, you can visit me at my website, johnburris.com. Please subscribe to this channel for more leading edge videos to come. I also have a wonderful book called Return to Nature, The 5 Pillars of Healing. You might find all kinds of interesting ideas there. So thank you for joining me today.